On the evening of June 13, 1944, at dusk in a muddy field near Stratford-upon-Avon, a group of soldiers of the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, soon to be known as the Ghost Army, silently inflated a dozen rubber tanks under the faint hum of a gasoline compressor while the English sky glowed pink-gray. Among them was Sergeant Victor Dowd, who later recalled the hiss of pneumatic rubber and the soft slap of tarpaulin as the decoys rose into shape. The Germans, flying overhead the next morning, saw what looked like armored columns rumbling forward. They saw tracks, glinting metal, even half-hidden troops. What they did not see, that these tanks were little more than canvas and air, radio chatter and sound effects. As the Allied invasion loomed, these ghostly formations became part of a deeper intelligence war. In mid-1944, the U.S. Army activated the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, authorized at 82 officers and 1,023 men, with a mission unlike any other, to appear to be two full divisions, roughly 30,000 troops, through visual, sonic and radio deception. They recruited artists, engineers, actors and sound technicians. Their first phase, establish fictitious armor and infantry units where none existed, draw German reconnaissance away from the real assault, create confusion in the mind of reconnaissance pilots and intelligence officers. By early May 1944 the unit was in England, ready for operations on the continent. The visual deception arm, 603rd Camouflage Engineers, began erecting full-size inflatable tanks, half-tracks and artillery pieces, while the radio teams pretended to transmit the signatures of real armored divisions and the sonic trucks trucked in booming sounds of tanks rumbling and soldiers shouting. Their first major operation took place after D-Day. On June 14, 1944 a platoon of 15 men from 603rd moved into France ahead of the real 980th Artillery Battalion, dragging inflatable howitzers and setting fake tracks, all to impersonate a legitimate artillery formation. In the summer of 1944, as the Allied advance pressed across France, the Ghost Army carried out deception around Brest and Metz, drawing German attention toward phantom units and gaps in the line that weren't actually there. One memorandum noted that an inflatable tank might weigh only 93 pounds, but from aerial reconnaissance it could look indistinguishable from an M4 Sherman under the right lighting, if the shadows and tracks were faked. The unit drilled bulldozers to churn tracks around decoy vehicles, they painted false division insignias on trucks, sent fake radio messages mimicking operators, FIST, in Morse code, and even staged conversations in local French cafes so that any German agent overhearing would believe that troops were real. Moving into early March 1945 the deception campaign peaked. In the opening days of the operation codenamed Operation Vierzen, from March 18 to 24, the Ghost Army massed 600 inflatable vehicles, erected fake headquarters 10 miles south of the Real intended crossing of the Rhine, and blasted sound recordings of bridge building, pontoon construction and trucks rolling at night. The Germans repositioned major formations toward the fake crossing zone while the real units moved unopposed. At one point a real German reconnaissance plane even landed on the dummy airfield set up by the Ghost Army. On that cold March dawn, as mist curled off the Rhine, the real 9th Army slipped across while German defenders were still alerting to the phantom divisions further downstream. The sound of invisible tanks had drawn their focus, the real tanks rolled quietly elsewhere. After V-Day, the 23rd returned to the U.S. and was deactivated in September 1945. Their achievements remained classified until the mid-1990s. Colonel Harry L. Reeder, the unit commander, later described the mission as pretending to fight for real while letting the real forces fight elsewhere. The intelligence war behind the armor, the fake tanks, the phantom divisions, the booming speakers in dark woods, proved that modern warfare was not only about steel and gunpowder, but about perception, deception and misdirection. The German army's reconnaissance, its aerial cameras, radio intercepts and field intelligence were all manipulated by a force of artists and engineers in rubber skins and canvas shadows. As the actual armored brigades thundered through, the Germans found themselves looking at ghosts. And when the shells fell and the smoke cleared, the men of the Ghost Army faded back into anonymity, the illusion intact. Their names seldom appeared in history books for decades, but their effect echoed. The tanks you saw may have been real, yet behind them lay another war of shadows, codes and cunning.